Hello, quote artisans. My name is Shonda, and welcome to my channel Under the Needle. So it is Thursday, so I'm here with Thankful Thursday. So I'm just kind of gonna give you guys a recap of what I've been up to and let you know what I'm thankful for this week. So I'm sure you guys know that the highlight of my week was my baby, my sewing machine, Veronica, falling to her death. Sad. Many of you ask me if it's fixable. I don't know. I don't know. So here's the thing. Maybe it's fixable. Maybe it's not. But I don't have the money right now to spend on a sewing machine, especially when I have one that works, right? So I have other machines. If it was my only machine, this might be a bit more of a desperate situation, but it's not my only machine. And I can't really justify, because you guys know I just bought a car. And so that was like $2,000. And now I have a car payment and an insurance payment that I did not have previously. So I have more bills, right? And then, speaking of bills, one moment. Okay, I just had to think for a second because my car payment, as I'm talking about it, my car payment withdraws out of my account today, and I needed to make sure that I moved funds over so that they would be there when the payment drafted. But I did take care of that yesterday, so, but I had forgotten. So I don't know if it's fixable or not. My machine. I don't know if it's fixable or not. But what I do know is that I just don't think it's something I can fix for a couple $100, right? It's just not. Um, it's going to cost more than that. It just is. So it's November 9th. We've got Black Friday sales coming up, for Christmas shopping. My son's birthday is in less than 30 days. I was on Facebook Marketplace and I found a very similar machine. I have the Janome Horizon Memory Craft 8700 QCP. I saw an 8900, which is very, very similar. I think the throat space might be a tiny bit smaller because it's not a QCP. I think the QCP was like a quilter's model, so we had a little extra throat space. I think the 8900 that I saw is not a QCP. It's just an 8900, and I think there might be like an inch less space to the right of the throat. I'm not 1,000% sure. I haven't looked it up. Um, but if it's not, it's pretty close if it's not identical. And that machine was $1,000. And could I get $1,000 and purchase this machine? Yeah, I could. But with everything else coming up, I just can't justify a luxury like that because that machine, that 8200 QCP, you can kind of see a bit of her behind me, a bit of her carcass right there. You see a bit of her. Um, that was a luxury gift to myself. In 2018, um, my I think I bought it in 20. No, I bought it in 2019. I'm sorry. It was 2019. Um, my ex-husband and I, we had split up in 2018, and I had a singer that I was using, and that machine fought with me. I was trying to do like a lot, like extended sewing periods, and I would just have issues with tension or issues with, it was just always something. I felt like I spent half my time, well, not half, maybe 25% of my time fighting my machine or rethreading it or trying to figure out what was wrong. I'd be sewing fine, change the bobbin, like everything's going fine. I'm sewing an hour, 2 hours, everything's great. I change the bobbin and then all of a sudden the machine doesn't work. And there's no reason for it because it's the same bobbin, it's the same thread. So why was it okay and now it's not okay? Stuff like that with that singer. And I knew that quilting was going to be something that I really wanted to do because it was something that I enjoyed before I had to stop. When I didn't, well, not had to stop, but I had 3 kids. And because when I started sewing, I had 1 child. And when I stopped sewing, I had 3 children. I had 3 children. I'm living in a 3-bedroom apartment. At the time, actually, no, I think at the time I was in a 2-bedroom apartment. And the 2 girls were in 1 bedroom, and my husband, the baby, and I were in another bedroom until we could upgrade to a 3-bedroom. But in that, there was no place for me to set up my sewing machine to be able to keep it up. Because with 5 people, to take a space like that for a hobby, like, and then to have to worry about my kids getting into stuff. So every time I wanted to sew, I did it at the kitchen table, and I'd have to take out my machine and take out all of my fabric and then like my project that I'm working on and then sew, and I might get an hour if I'm lucky. If I'm lucky, I might get an hour. And then all of that stuff's got to go back. And so I just gave it up for a while. And so when I started back sewing full time, I knew that this was something that I liked before, and I knew that it was something I was going to want to continue to do. And so I felt like that machine was an investment, right? That was an investment. I intended that machine to last me, 20 years, at least 10, right? And so I thought that was a good mid-range machine. It did everything I needed. It had a nice, large throat space to fit a large quilt or larger quilt to make quilting not so cumbersome. It wasn't astronomically expensive like a Bernina. To get an equivalent Bernina, I probably got to spend like $7,000, $8,000. It was ridiculous. So I saw that machine for $1,999 on Amazon. And I said that was back when Amazon did not charge sales tax. So that was the price. That was the price of it. And so I had it shipped. And since then I bought, other accessories and feet for it. I love the machine. And if I had an extra $1,000 lying around, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. What I do know is let's say I can fix the machine for $800. Let's just say I can't spend $800 on a luxury repair, on a luxury item right now. So, because I'd like to get my son a birthday gift, and I'd like to have Christmas gifts under the tree, I'd like to be able to do that. So I can't spend that money in that way. So, I'm just going to wait. I've got my Juki set up. It's working great. And that it just is what it is. Juki's been fine. So I'll just continue to use that machine for now. Then when we get into the new year and things loosen up and I can get some money set aside, then I will take Veronica to the spa. I will take her somewhere and have her looked at and see if she's repairable and how much it will cost to repair, right? Because it's just like your car. Your car might be repairable, but it might cost so much to repair. It's better off buying a new car. So it doesn't make sense for me to spend $1,000 to fix this machine when I can get a whole new one. Well, it's going to cost me more now because the machine costs more. Inflation, $2,200, and then now, of course, I'm going to have to pay tax. So it'll probably be like $2,500. So I don't know if I want to spend $1,000 to fix her if I can just get a new machine potentially. I don't know. I have to see. So anyway, that's all I have to say about the machine. She's just going to be sitting around for a while, and I'd say in the next November, December, January, February, March, in the next 4 months maybe. Also, someone told me that that sometimes after QuiltCon, like they have really good deals on machines that are used, but only lightly used during QuiltCon. So I was like, well, and then, we're in an economy where, not to take advantage of someone else's difficulties, but we're in an environment where people might want to get rid of things they're not using. And people might be willing to sell their sewing machine. There are a lot of people like me that have more than one machine and might be willing to part with one. I've seen quite a few on Facebook Marketplace, and it's a possibility. So I'm just going to wait. So I did go to retreat. So I took the old machine, the broken machine, not the old machine, Veronica. I took her out the car and I loaded up the Juki. And then, of course, because I got to find, it's different bobbins, it's different feet, and so I had to go find everything. And so I get in the car. It's a 2-hour ride. It's not bad. I get there. I get to the hotel, to the resort. I check in. I lose my keys like immediately. I don't know how. Those people gave me my keys and I lost them and I never found them again. So it's not like, oh, they were in my purse in the wrong place or my pocket. They never showed up. So I get to the resort. It's gorgeous. I did take a video. I put it on my YouTube channel. I did it a short. I think I uploaded it as a short. It was gorgeous. So when you're in the elevator, you're on one side of the building and you have it was one of those elevators that's glass and so you can see out. And so you had the intracoastal waterway on one side and then you had the beach on the other. It was absolutely gorgeous. I did not go to the sand at all, but I did spend a lot of time on my balcony. So when I arrived Friday, it was basically just setting up everything and meeting everyone and that kind of stuff. And so I whipped out the Juki and immediately it's giving me problems. Like I have tension problems out the wazoo. Like every 5 inches, there's like a rat's nest on the back and the thread is breaking. And I'm like, I'm so upset. And I'm upset not because of the retreat and I can't sew at the retreat. I'm upset because if I get home and this machine isn't working, I have another machine, but it is small. It is small. It is like a machine that you take to a class when you don't want to carry anything heavy and when you don't have a lot of space. So I figured, because the Juki it's all metal. It's a mechanical machine. And you're supposed to oil that puppy after every 4 to 6 hours of sewing. And mine has been sitting for 2 years, 2.5. And so my gut said it probably needs a good cleaning and a good oiling. And there was a lady there that had brought her featherweight. And so she had oil. And I'm assuming that it would be comparable for me to use. But I was afraid. I was afraid because I was like, if I cleaned the machine, but I didn't oil it. Because I was like, if I oil this machine and it doesn't start working, it's going to ruin my weekend. Because then I'm going to know for sure that I don't have a sewing machine. I don't have an everyday sewing machine. And so I just dealt with the complications of the Juki that I was having instead of trying to fix it. And I know that might sound backwards, but I felt better struggling with the machine than to take the chance of oiling it and it not fix it and knowing that the machine needs to be serviced and I'm going to have to drop it off somewhere. So I sewed all day Friday. Like from the time I got there, I think we took a quick break and we went to a pizza shop. Me and two of the other ladies. We went to a pizza shop. I ate a slice. I brought a slice back so that because I didn't want to spend a lot of money on food while I was out there. So, got a couple slices of pizza, got back, went back to sewing. Probably sewed until about 9, maybe 9 or 10. And then I went back to the room and I had a bunch of half square triangles that I had sewn. And so I decided that what I was going to do was I was going to press them and square them. And so that's what I did. So I wasn't down in the room. I was up in my room, but I was still in the quilting process. So I was pressing a bunch of half square triangles and squaring them up so that the next day I could just sew. Saturday morning, I woke up about 8:30 and I'm not really a big breakfast person and I brought Keurig pods, but there was no Keurig in there. All they had was a sad coffee pot and I did not want to use that. So I was like, well, no coffee. I didn't feel like going downstairs to get coffee. So I think I had like a Diet Dr. Pepper or something. So I just took that and I went out on the balcony and 3 hours later, I'm not playing. So, um, I did some additional squaring, but then I went and took a break. It was probably about 9:30, and I went out on the balcony, and I promise you, I sat out there for about 2.5 hours. And then, because I just love the view. I love the beach. Even if I don't go in the water, even if my toes don't touch the sand, I just love being at the beach. I love the sound of the waves, and the air smells different, and the birds. It is, it is a very relaxing and cathartic experience for me. Cathartic is probably the wrong word. That's not the right word. That's way too big a word. But it's just very relaxing, and um, I can really like decompress. And so when I finally got down to sew, it was like, I don't know, maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, maybe something like that. And so I did some sewing until about 6 because we were going for dinner. And so we met for dinner at this place. I mean, the food was just okay to me. But I'm not one to be disagreeable. Everybody said the food was great, so I was like, it's great. I didn't think it was that great. I thought it was a bit underseasoned. Um, yeah. So I ended up getting what they call a mixed grill, which basically means I got three shrimp, three scallops, a piece of fish. I forgot what kind of fish it was, and there was like a bed of rice and some green beans. And it was all underseasoned, and the rice was kind of mushy. It was just okay. I ended up taking it home, not taking it home, but taking it back to the room, and I ended up not eating it. I didn't like it. It wasn't. Mm-mm. I ended up eating all the green beans because I'm a vegetable person, and I ate the three shrimp, and I ate maybe a third of the rice, and the rest of it went in the trash. I think I took 2 bites of the fish. It was just I needed more seasoning. But that's just me. I'm used to cooking my own food. I'm used to it being at a certain salt level, but that's just me. Um, and it wasn't cheap. And I knew I was going out, and I knew that it wasn't going to be cheap, right? I knew that we were going to a seafood restaurant. I knew it wasn't going to be cheap. I factored that in. So for me, it really wasn't about the food. It was about the experience and the camaraderie of being with other people. Now, my intention was after dinner, my intention was to go back to the room and sew. Because we all had our individual rooms at the resort, and they had just booked a conference room and put some tables in there. And yeah, but I didn't make it. I went back to the room, and I sat outside, and I listened to that beach, and that's where I stayed. And then I got up Sunday morning, and I did the same thing. I went out on that balcony, and I sat, and I watched the water, and I looked at the sand, and I just kind of sat there. Now, we weren't supposed to like wrap up until 1 o'clock. I got down there. I left at checkout. You know, I'm one of those people. If checkout is at 11, I'm checking out at 10:59. Okay. If checkout is at 2, I'm checking out at 1:59. Unless there's someplace else I have to be, I want all of my time. Okay. Because they're charging you for a day, and you don't even get a whole day. Okay. You get from 4 to 11. So you're paying for a day, but you're only getting, what, 19 hours? It's robbery. It's highway robbery. But I'm like, okay. So I check out, I go to the room, but you got to remember, most of the people are significantly older than me, or they might have farther to travel than me. Because if you live in Raleigh or Durham, you have to go a lot farther than what I have to go to get home. You've got another 30 minutes to an hour to your commute time. But by the time I got down there at 11 o'clock, everybody was pretty much gone. And I had missed my door prize, so I was able to just pick one off the table. And I did get, I think I got a charm pack, a spray mist bottle, some pre-made binding, something else. I don't know. It was cute. It was cute. Everybody got a bag. There was like a little bingo thing. I didn't get bingo. Um, it was a good time. It was a good time. It was a good time. I would definitely do it again. I'm talking too much. I would definitely do it again. I had a great time. I didn't do a lot of sewing because I was fighting my machine. I could have fixed it, but I was afraid to fix it. But that's okay. So I got home Sunday about 4. Because I just kind of hung around a little bit. Everybody was packing up, but I was like, well, maybe I can help. So, I stuck around and, so by the time I rolled out, it was maybe like, by the time I think I left the hotel about 12:30. Yeah. And then I stopped at a gas station and got like some cheese sticks and a beverage and drove home. Um, so Sunday just hung out, watched some football. So Monday I decided I thoroughly cleaned my Juki. Her name is Betty. So my Juki was Betty and big girl over there. The because it's reversed. So I want to do this, but it's not. It's over here. So big girl behind me, that was Veronica. Betty and Veronica. So I decided to go ahead and give Betty a thorough cleaning, and I got my oil out. I got the oil that came with the Juki, and I put a solid 2 drops in all of the areas where you're supposed to put oil. And then I got a piece of test fabric, and boom, she was off to the races. She's sewing smoothly, no issues, no problems, no tension, no nothing. Everything's great. She's working fine. It's just a mechanical machine. It had been sitting unused for 2 or 3 years, and it needed to be lubricated. That was it. She's working great. Um, Sunday I had a little bit of cough, but no big deal. Monday I had a full-on cold, but I still worked. I was okay. I was able to fix the Juki. I sewed a few stitches, but not too much. I was still sick on Tuesday. Tuesday, I was still sick. But I did quite a bit of sewing. So the project that I was trying to finish at the retreat, which is the one I've been showing you, is called My Favorite Color is Moda. Um, this little quilty right here, this little sampler quilt, I finished sewing that. And then I decided that I was going to piece the back because I had all this leftover grunge. And then I had like not quite enough of the eggplant for the backing, but almost. And then I had some blocks that I had made incorrectly. I had made them the wrong size. And what happened was when I squared them to the wrong size. So when I put the finished unit together, it was the wrong size. And so I had 3 blocks that were the wrong size. Actually, it was 4. But I'm symmetrical in how I like to do things. And so I couldn't use the 4 in a way that made it easy for me to use them and still be symmetrical. So I've almost got the back pieced. I've got 2 more seams that I need to do to piece the back. Um, I'll probably sew that tomorrow. And then I'll probably, because I'm starting to feel better. Right now today, I'm just really tired. But at least the constant coughing is better. I did take some Mucinex, the 12-hour Mucinex, to help not cough so much and to help break stuff up. So I did do that. And I have been taking Advil every 6 to 8 hours to help with just the pressure behind my eyes and the body aches and stuff like that. Yesterday, I couldn't sew much. I wanted to finish the backing yesterday. I couldn't. So I did the small project from the Open Gate Quilt subscription box because that's why I love these little small projects. I was able to get this done even though like my brain was so foggy. I had to read the instructions 50,000 times because my brain wasn't working. But I still got this done in like 30 minutes and it was awesome. And it's cute. I've got my little tissues in there and I'm like, I could assembly line these super quickly. Super quickly. Like if it takes 30 minutes to make one, you could probably make 5 in an hour because it's really not that much extra. Half the time I spent making sure I was reading the directions right. But if you can get a bunch going, so I think I'm going to choose a lining fabric that is the same. I'll probably pick 2 different lining fabrics, and I'll probably pick several different, because you can get quite a few of these out of a fat quarter. How many can I get out of these out of a fat quarter? From the inside fabric. The inside fabric doesn't matter. The outside fabric is what we need, because that's what you're actually going to see. And how many can I get from a fat quarter? 3. 9. I can get 9 from a fat quarter. So it doesn't make sense to use my 10-inch squares because I can't get 2 out of it. But I'll probably just pick like a plain lining. I'll pick something from over there. I don't know. Maybe I'll even use my yardage, so I don't have to dip into my pre-cuts. I don't know, but I think I see a bunch of these on the horizon for me, and I see them as just kind of going to everyone I know. Like, I see me making like 20 or 30 of them and just giving one to literally every person that I come into contact with. Now, y'all know I don't come into contact with a lot of people because I said 30. That's not a lot of people. And that includes the ones that live in my house. So, anywho. I take it back. I did do some sewing on Monday. So I did a little bit of sewing on Monday, but just not much, because I needed to catch up on work. And Tuesday, like I said, I was sick, but I didn't feel exhausted. So I did quite a bit of sewing on Tuesday. Yesterday, I didn't feel I couldn't sew. I thought I would feel better Wednesday, but I did not. I did not feel better. And then today, of course, I have not even turned on my machine. I'm so tired. I'm coughing less, which is great. I'm keeping up the Mucinex and the ibuprofen to help with the body aches and the pressure. But I'm so tired. I am so tired. I'm so tired I took the day off. Yesterday I was falling asleep at my desk, so I ended up putting in for half a day, so I could just get done what I had to get done and then chill. Today, I just took the whole day off. I still have an hour worth of work that I'm going to have to do, so I'm probably going to do that after this. But I took the day off because I'm so tired. It's just hard to keep my eyes open for long periods of time. Like right now, I want to close my eyes right now. So anyway, all that to say, that was just way too long. I should probably refilm this, but I'm too tired. So anyway, that was my week. I love the retreat. I brought way too many projects. So even if my machine hadn't gone down, I brought way too many projects. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because you don't know what you're going to want to work on. You just don't know what you're going to want to do. So I brought 3 large projects. Now, one of them is the quilt that I told you about that I just finished. The other one was my postcard from Sweden quilt. I did get 2 rows of that done. And the other was another quilt I'm working on, which is basically a bunch of 1.5-inch strips. Honestly, if my machine had been working, I would have worked on that quilt. When I didn't feel like doing anything, I would have done that. Because you're literally just holding the 2 1.5 strips together and pressing go and just sewing that strip. That's it. And it's a width of fabric strip. And then you're pressing it, and then you're adding another strip, and you're pressing it, and you're adding another strip. Like, I would have done that. But because my machine was messing up the way that it was, I couldn't just press go and just sew. So if I had oiled the machine and fixed it, I probably would have done a lot of that quilt because it would have been something that I could do mindlessly without thinking. The quilt that I worked on, I ripped more seams between Friday and Saturday. I ripped more seams than I probably had in the full 3 months before that. Because there's people around me and there's activities and I'm talking, and plus I'm not in my normal environment, so I can't use my normal system. I don't have the same amount of space that I normally have. You don't have a lot of space at retreat. So we had these long tables, but each side of the table was for 3 people. So whereas when I'm home, I have like this entire area. I didn't have that. And so I sewed some things the wrong way or in the wrong space, just stuff like that. I do think that I would definitely do it again. And I don't think that I would change anything. I would bring the same amount of stuff that I brought. Like I said, I bought 3 full-size projects. I brought 2 crochet projects, a small one that I was working on, plus a large one that I hadn't started. And I brought a bunch of small projects. And honestly, I don't know what it would have been completely different if I had a functioning sewing machine. Because I probably had like 15 small, those little open gate quilts projects, they're small. I probably had like 10, 12 of those. And I probably would have got some of them done if I had had a fully functioning machine that I wasn't fighting. So I wouldn't do anything different. I would still bring all that stuff. I would bring all of it. I think the only thing that I would change is that I wouldn't take it all out my trunk. I would just leave it in the trunk and just take out what I'm using. Take out what I'm actively sewing and leave the rest in my trunk so that at the end of the weekend, I don't, because it was just a weekend. I checked in on Friday. I got there like Friday at like 1 o'clock. And I'm leaving 48 hours later, and I had to schlep all that stuff back to my car. So that's the only thing that I would do differently. Yeah. That's it. That's it. I have not done any sewing today. Like I said, I took the day off. I'm about to wrap this up and go work for about, hopefully it won't even take an hour. I'm hoping I can knock it out in like 30 minutes. I'm just tired. And then I'm going to go get back in my bed. And then I'll probably do some crocheting. That's what I did earlier. I'm going to put something on TV. I'm going to do some crocheting. I passed my cold on to Adrian. He's sick now too. He's really feeling it today. I feel like he's 2 days behind me. So I feel like he is having the day that I had on Tuesday, which means that tomorrow he's going to have the day I had on Wednesday, and Wednesday was definitely my worst day. Now, he is significantly younger than I am, so he might bounce back a little quicker. I don't know. Adrian is 34. I'm 47. So I bounced back from a cold much faster when I was in my early to mid 30s than I do now in my mid to upper 40s. Sorry. Like I said, it sounds way worse than it is. I promise it sounds worse than it is. The cough is not that bad right now. It was earlier when I was coughing constantly and I felt like I was gonna die. This is much better. It's coughing, but it's not so often. It's not as hard. Mostly now, I'm just tired. So I am going to sign off because I have talked way too long. That is it for me, and I will see you guys next video.